Lesson 10. The Data Structures. Speaking once more on where we started our series, the data structures key to development are arrays of different data types, otherwise also known as lists, or they consist of classes or objects that can hold others, the former through composition and the latter through key-value pairs. Through classes and through composition comes the most essential data structures heap and linked list, along with stacks and queues. Heaps are data structures where data is written to memory randomly, hence placed as random allocations of data without much interconnection between them as opposed to a linked list which consists of composition. The concept we discussed earlier, in that each element gets linked to the other element. Much like the allocation of an interlinked set of data. What happens when you insert a node into a linked list making the previous link null and the new link as it makes itself linked to both? What should the new element have as its head node as well as the tail node? When spoken about from purely a memory allocation stance, leads us to the much craved problem of defragmentation. In which, if deleted items are not deleted properly, the garbage when brought to the heap and left uncollected, the simplest of ways for browsers not requiring much data, but solved by most operating systems in that each of the deleted items are not sent to the heap, but rather through a stack in which are placed elements routed through a queue. If a variable written in memory as z holding a blob video is deleted, the blob is first placed on a separate queue of garbage collection not before being replaced but in that when this blob gets stacked onto the second function as part of the aforementioned algorithm. All of the files are moved through a queue again in a process called auto-defragmentation happening in the background through this third process, and used in most operating systems adhering to latest standards. That is something, isn't it, folks? Subscribe to Miran Academy and visit our site to learn more from Miran Academy. And props to you for preferring a Mac over Windows. Speaking about these snacks, I mean about stacks and queues. A stack is like a pile of books well seated in a tray, of which only the topmost book can be removed, while a queue is one in which, much like a voting booth, the person to stand first in line comes out first. What's the difference? FIFO versus LIFO. Last in first out versus first in first out. All of the other trees such as binary trees, balanced trees and others emerge from the linked list we've already spoken about. That's it, folks, for today's lesson. Subscribe and visit miranacademy.com to learn more.